Hello, welcome to the Google Earth Geometry Sketchpad activity. In this activity, what we will be doing is using Google Earth and Google Maps to look at satellite images of airports and then calculate their runway numbers. Basically, a runway number of an airport is calculated from its heading on a compass, but not from true north, but magnetic north. So, as we go through this activity, we'll discuss that in more detail. It is all spelled out in this document that is provided with the activity. So what we need to do first is choose a location. Students get to choose any city or location that they want. I'm going to pick Chicago, and typically I'm actually go to O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Now you may have seen all those little airplanes on the screen. What you are looking at is a plugin for Google Earth called FlightWise, and it's available through flightwise.com. And what that does is give you the option of looking at real-time flight data for various airports, including O'Hare Airport. So I'm going to scroll over to the west, and O'Hare Airport is located right about here. Now what we're going to need to do is zoom in a little bit so that we see O'Hare Airport at a good size. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to view that in Google Maps. Because what we want to do is take a screenshot of this and then plug that into Geometry Sketchpad. So I'm going to go to Google Maps, and it opens up a browser inside of Google Earth. But what we're going to do is copy and paste that link into a new browser so we can view full screen. Okay, so we are looking at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and you want to zoom in so it fills most of the screen, but not too large, because you do want to get the entire airport. Like if I'm looking at it this here, I'm going to be missing this runway at the bottom, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Now, one thing to take note of is it's going to be very confusing when you paste this into Sketchpad to know what are runways and what are taxiways. And you're going to have to rezoom onto the image, and you can verify what's a runway and what's a taxiway. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a screenshot of this by hitting Alt, print screen. And then we want to go to Paint, or you can do this in Photoshop. I'm going to use Paint. And I'm going to paste, and now I don't want the entire image, I just want really the airport. So I'm going to use the selection rectangle and select the area that's mainly just the airport, and then I'm going to hit copy and then go to new, and I don't need to save this. And we paste that there. And I'm going to now save this into a file where I know where it's going to be located at. So I'm going to save it on the desktop for now and call this O'Hare and save it as a JPEG. Okay, because it's still in my buffer, I'm going to go to Geometry Sketchpad, make sure I have a new sketch here, and I'm going to go to Edit and Paste Picture. So what that does is paste the picture on our Sketchpad. I didn't mean to put that line there, so I'm going to undo that. Make sure my arrow is selected, and I'm going to drag this into the corner. Now, what I want to do is fill up most of the screen with this airport. You can do that by dragging the corner here, but you really want to be careful, because if you just drag it, it's gonna destroy the aspect ratio. So if you hold down Shift while dragging this, okay, it's going to keep the aspect ratio the same. So that way, when we conduct our measurements, we have not changed the aspect ratio. I'm going to do that again because I think it messed up at the end there. Okay, so there is O'Hare Airport. Now, I spelled out all the steps in the document on what you need to do, but so I'm going to run through this rather quickly, and you can pause this video at any point that you want. Okay, first thing we need to do is lock this picture. So we're going to go to Properties, and we're going to unclick Arrow Selectable. What that will do is it will make this really just a background. So we could do all our calculations above this. Okay, I am going to pick this runway right here, and that's the runway I'm going to look at, and I'm going to try to determine what the runway number is. So first thing I'm going to do is select the line tool and put 1 point on one end and 1 point on the other end, and I'm going to make sure that this line runs directly on that runway like that. Now I want to make sure that this line is thick and that you can see it. So I want to make sure thick is selected, and I'm going to choose yellow, and I believe it might stand out a little better. Okay, now what we also need to do is we're going to go to Graph and Define Coordinate System. So that will overlay a coordinate system, which we can use to determine which way is north exactly. So I'm going to draw another line, and I'm going to line it up on any one of these lines, and I'm going to draw a line straight up and down. This will be my north-south line. Okay, so now what do I need to do is select both of these lines, and construct the intersection. Now we'll put that dot there, and now I will be able to measure this angle right here, because I want to know how many degrees is this runway away from north. So the way you do that is we select that point, and then the vertex of the angle, and another point on the other side, and then go to Measure Angle. Okay, so we have measured this angle to be approximately 140 degrees. Okay, now what we need to do is go back to Google Earth, and on Google Earth I'm going to close this, and there's a plugin for Google Earth that determines the magnetic declination. What that is the magnetic North Pole is different than the actual North Pole on the Earth, and runway numbers are determined from magnetic north, not actual north. So if you go to Google, and I'm going to show you how to find this, you type mag deck Google Earth, okay, you will find the magnetic declination calculator website. And if you go here and scroll down to the bottom, it will say download mag deck, and you will run that install program, and it will install it directly into your Google Earth, which I have already done. So back to Google Earth, and it will appear in your places over here on the left. So there's some helpful hints on here that tell you how it works basically. And when you click on declination calculator, and if whatever object is in the exact middle of your screen and you click refresh, it will calculate the exact latitude and longitude. And one thing I learned about doing this is magnetic north is actually moving. So depending on the date, magnetic north has a different calculation. So this fills in automatically with today's date. If you hit calculate, okay, we see that magnetic north is really 3 degrees west of true north. So if you look at true north, magnetic north is going to be like 3 degrees to the west. So what that means in our calculation is we're going to have to add 3 degrees to our calculation. So it was actually 3 degrees and 15